Can Chelsea get their first win under Thomas Tuchel? Or will Burnley's defense prove too cool? I'm sorry guys, talking about too cool. That introduction was lame even for me, I'm so sorry. But of course, hey everyone, my name is Finn, and welcome to my Premier League Matchweek 21 prediction video, where of course I'll be discussing in full every single game for this Premier League Matchweek. But before getting into my preview of every game, I want to ask you guys to put in the comment section down below, do you think Thomas Tuchel will succeed at Chelsea this season? Yes or no, put down your answer in the comment section down below. I'm interested to see what you guys think. But you know what, getting into my first prediction for Premier League Matchweek 21, Everton versus Newcastle United. And I really do believe that Everton should win this one pretty comfortably. I mean, they've got the better team overall. They've had better results this season. They've got the better individuals. Some of their best players are returning from injury. So everything does look like it should be going in Everton's favour. Look, I will admit this. I don't think Everton looked that good in their draw versus Leicester City, bar maybe their defensive abilities. But other than that, as I said, Everton look like the better team. They've got really good wide attacking players. Obviously, you've got the likes of Richarlison, the likes of James Rodriguez, who can play as a winger, Denier, players like that. And as I've told you guys, Newcastle United really struggle versus wide attacking play, which Newcastle United not lacking wings. It's a bit funny considering Steve Bruce looks like a man who enjoys a wing or two. But you know what, obviously jokes aside, as I was saying, Everton look like a better team. They are in better form when Newcastle United have not won in a very, very long time. I'm afraid that it really does look like Everton are the obvious winners in this game. And in terms of a player to watch, a man that I just mentioned, I think it is going to be James Rodriguez. Because ever since that he has returned from injury, whether he plays an attacking midfield position or a winger position, he is a game changer. Versus Leicester City, versus Sheffield Wednesday, he had really good games. And I think he'll be the difference maker once again versus Newcastle. But talking about difference makers, the next game is going to be Crystal Palace versus Wolves, and it is very tricky to pinpoint a difference maker in this kind of game because I think it really could go either way. I have to admit that Crystal Palace, even the prediction's tricky. Crystal Palace, their attack is good, but defense is sloppy. Wolves, their attack hasn't been great, but their defense is very, very solid to get through sometimes. So you know what, it is very contrasting, these two teams, so anything really could happen. But you know what, I am going to give Crystal Palace the win in this game. Crystal Palace can be very unpredictable, but you know what, I think their attack has looked so good as of late, and I think they'll be able to break down that Wolves defense. As I said, Crystal Palace, unpredictable. They can be good, they can be bad. A tiny bit like this YouTube channel, I guess. But as I said, Crystal Palace also has good days. But you know what, in terms of a play, I say you know what a lot. You know what, I bet you if I donated 50 cents to a charity every time I said that, I would probably lose a lot of money. So I'm not going to end up doing that. But as I was saying, I think in terms of a player to watch for Crystal Palace, probably going to have to be Wilfried Zaha. When he plays, he has been incredible so far this season. We are watching a prime Wilfried Zaha. This is probably his best ever season for Crystal Palace. And I think that he will score probably 1 or 2 goals versus Wolves, who versus Chelsea, I will admit, even though they held Chelsea to a draw, they didn't really look that spectacular overall. Defensively, they were solid, but attacking-wise, they aren't looking that good. And there is a possibility that Podence will be injured for this game. So, you know what? I like Crystal Palace's favours a tiny bit more. But talking about favours, the next game is going to be Manchester City versus Sheffield United. And I said this last week, but it is going to be top of the league players versus bottom of the league. First place versus 20th, which that really could backfire. Anything could happen. Obviously, I'm a Manchester United fan and I said the exact same last week. And it really came back to bite me. But Manchester United should win this one easily. They've had a much better season than Sheffield United, and they are the stronger team. But at the end of the day, Manchester United, if there's one thing we can do, it is bottle something. We are so good at bottling things. We could bottle holy water and sell it to a Viking somehow. But you know what? Back on topic, Finn. Manchester City versus Sheffield United. Manchester City really should not bottle this. Better team overall. They are looking very, very good. They've just beaten West Brom 5-0. So I am going to give Manchester City another comfortable win. Not that comfortable though, a 3-0 win, but still reasonably comfortable. And in terms of a player to watch, I once again have to go for Odegaard. He has been so good as of late, getting so many goals this season. I'm actually going to say this, but I think Gundogan is going to be the Premier League Player of the Month for January. He has been that good, and I think his display will show once again versus Sheffield United. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we might actually have the biggest game of the Premier League match week. And no, it's not Arsenal versus Manchester United. This is a bigger game, possibly. Hold on to your seats, as it is going to be West Brom versus Fulham. Grab your tickets when you still can. Which, wow, that's an odd concept to think about. That one day I'm going to have to explain to my children that once upon a time, you could physically go watch football games at the stadium. But you know what, that's too sad to think about. Hopefully things will be normal by then. But back to the game, West Brom versus Fulham. Not that exciting a game. Two lower table teams, but I will give Fulham the win in this one, just because they have actually picked up results as of late. They've gotten something weird, like 6 or 7 draws in their last 10 games, and although those aren't wins, points are points and points are valuable, and they should pick up points versus West Brom, who have just lost 5-0 to Manchester City. And although West Brom do have promising moments from time to time, their defense, unfortunately, is way too leaky, in my opinion. There's one thing having a little hole in a pipe for water to spray through. It's another thing to just remove the pipe and have water go everywhere. And unfortunately, at the moment, that is West Brom's defense. And in terms of a player to watch, I'm going to go for Lookman once more from Fulham. Although young, although not a veteran of the game, he is so promising and can create magical moments up front for Fulham. And now getting into the next game, it is going to be a promising game, the game I mentioned earlier, Arsenal versus Manchester United, which as a Manchester United fan, I don't know how I became so nervous for this game. I should not be nervous for this game. Arsenal a month ago just lost to Burnley. They were horrible. They were 14th on the table. Manchester United have just ended an 11-game run, but for some reason I'm nervous because, I don't know, you know when you just feel it in your heart that something bad's going to happen even though it shouldn't? That's essentially what I'm feeling. Manchester United have just lost to Sheffield United. They were not the better team. That is a horrific result. Sheffield United's first away win of the season to Manchester United. And Arsenal are about 6 games unbeaten, and they've just got an Odegaard in the midfield position. That is a great signing, even though it's a loan signing. So you know what, this will actually be a very close game, and I wouldn't have said so a month ago. Which, by the way, guys, I do want you guys to know that when it comes to transfers or interesting little football statistics that I do post on a regular basis on Instagram, Fincross Football posts little statistics and transfer rumors and stuff like that. So please, if you're interested in that, link to my Instagram is in the description down below. But in terms of a result from this game, as I said, it could actually be very, very close, but I'm actually going to give Manchester United a slight win in this, a 2-1 win. And that's not because I'm a biased Manchester United supporter. It's just the fact that looking throughout the season, statistically, Manchester United have been the better team. Therefore, I feel like they still are favourites to win, and they really should. And in terms of a player to watch, I'm going to go for Bruno Fernandes. Although I could really go for Odegaard in the midfield position for Arsenal, but you know what? Bruno Fernandes has proven so far this season how great he is and that he actually is a big game player. And we saw that with that spectacular free kick versus Liverpool, which I'm not going to lie, I'm never going to shut up about that goal. I'm just it's the best goal I've ever seen. We have now reached the halfway stage of this Premier League prediction video, and game number 6 is going to be very tricky to predict as it is between two mid-table teams that both lost in their previous games. It is going to be Southampton versus Aston Villa. Now Southampton, I feel like unfortunately in their previous game, they did drop in quality and playing style versus Arsenal. I felt like their passing was very, very sloppy. Defensively, they weren't good. Just overall, Southampton did not look good in that game versus Arsenal. We're looking at Aston Villa when they did lose to Burnley in their previous game. I will admit, I felt like they actually played okay, but defensively, they were sloppy when it came to positioning and counter-attack style of play. Unfortunately, Aston Villa's defense looked as straggly as Tyrone Mings' hair. So in terms of a prediction, it will be tricky, but I think I will go for Aston Villa in this one. And in terms of a player to watch, once again, you know where this is going. It just has to be Jack Grealish. He is almost a guaranteed. Although Ollie Watkins has done really well as of late, Jack Grealish, once again, I don't know what it is about him, but week in, week out, he performs. And that really is such a class player. And he really could play in any club in the world. I genuinely feel like that he is amazing and he could be a difference maker in a game like this. As I said, although I'm giving Aston Villa the win, it really could go either way. And talking about a game that maybe potentially could go either way, next up we've got Chelsea versus Burnley. Now, obviously, Thomas Tuchel has only had one training session with Chelsea, and that was before the Wolves' game. So to come away with a draw in a game like that is not too bad. Attacking-wise, though, Chelsea really wasn't there. So versus Burnley, a defensively strong team, Chelsea really do have to give it their absolute all. Burnley have not done bad as of late. They've gotten points versus top teams this Premier League season, where of course Chelsea at the end of the day haven't done that well. They've got a brand new manager, but you know what? As you guys can see on my prediction, I'm going to give Chelsea a massive 3-0 win. I don't know what it is, what my feeling is about it, but looking at Thomas Tuchel, I feel like not enough people give him credit. I mean, of course, he was the manager of Borussia Dortmund at PSG. He knows how to work with really good attacking teams. He worked at Borussia Dortmund when Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang was there. He, of course, worked with PSG when Mbappe, Cavani, Neymar, all those really good attacking players were there. So in terms of attack, I feel like Thomas Tuchel will bring the best out of Chelsea and will probably get a huge win in a game like this. And in terms of a player to watch, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to shock you, but I've got Timo Werner. Now, you guys are probably going to think he's got less than a handful of goals in the Premier League this season. He's currently competing with Kurt Zouma to be Chelsea's top scorer this season, which is really saying something. But you know what? As I said, Tuchel has worked with some great attacking players, and I feel like he'll know how to get the best out of a player like Timo Werner. Along with that, he's German, Werner's German. Maybe that communication will be there, and maybe Tuchel will be the manager to get the best out of Timo Werner. I don't know. I think it's going to be a very interesting game. Let's see what happens. The third last game of this Premier League match week could actually be a very exciting game, potentially a very close game with a lot of goals in it, as it is going to be Leicester City versus Leeds United. Now, looking at both these two teams, they've both played very exciting football this season. Leicester City, obviously, that's how they've gotten so high up on the table, and Leeds United, although they haven't gotten that many wins this season, they've still played relatively very exciting football so far this season. So as a neutral, this game could be very exciting to watch, and I think there could be a lot of goals in a game like this, which obviously, talking about goals, guys, obviously you know my goal on YouTube this year is goals, get it, play on words. Obviously, my goal this year is to reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, or potentially 900 subscribers in the next few weeks to the next month. So obviously that is my goal. So if you're not subscribed, please do consider doing so, as it does get me closer to achieving my dream. I would really appreciate it. But getting back to the game, Leicester City versus Leeds United. Now, I do think Leicester City should win this one. They are high up on the table. They are looking like the better team. My only worry for them is the fact that Jamie Vardy is injured. But I do think Leicester City will win because they control the midfield better. When it comes to Leeds United, although their attacking is very, very good, they struggle to control and hold the ball in possession in the midfield positions. And that is why Leicester City are so high up on the table. They are great in their midfield, and that's probably why they will win a game like this. And in terms of a player to watch, I have to go for James Maddison once more. The former Norwich midfielder has had a spectacular season, not just in terms of assists, but more likely in terms of goals this season. He has been a big game changer over the last 4 or 5 games, and I think he will do it again. But you know what? Talking about a big game, the second last game of this Premier League match week could potentially be that, as it is West Ham United versus Liverpool. Now, you know what? This actually could go either way, because West Ham United have gotten points against some top teams this season. They just beat Crystal Palace 3-2, and if it wasn't for Antonio hitting the post a few times, they could have won by a lot more. And looking at Liverpool, this is obviously recorded before the Spurs game. Liverpool have lost a lot of points unnecessarily this season to teams like West Brom, Fulham, Brighton. You know the whole story. They've lost unnecessary points. But at the end of the day, I probably still will give Liverpool the win, because although they aren't in great shape, they are still Liverpool. They still have the ability to produce a great result. And that game versus Manchester United, I will say that I thought that Liverpool played a very good game versus Manchester United in the Premier League, and even in the FA Cup. I thought that Liverpool looked very, very good at times and really did control the game. So you know what, Liverpool, because they are Liverpool, probably will give them the win. And in terms of a player to watch, just has to be Mo Salah, because I've always said this, even on Liverpool's bad days, Mo Salah is still a world-class player and is always the best player on the pitch. And I think that will happen again in a game like this. But ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached our final game of this Premier League match week, as it is going to be Brighton versus Tottenham Hotspurs. Now, obviously, as I said, this is before the Spurs-Liverpool game. Anything can happen, but I will still give Spurs the result versus Brighton, because although Brighton haven't looked too shabby as of late, they've gotten a point here and there. I think that they were the better team versus Fulham, despite getting the draw. I still think that Tottenham Hotspurs will get the result because, let's be honest, they are the better team. They've got the better attack, the better midfield, the better defense. Spurs are the better team. They haven't been in that great form as of late, but versus a team like Brighton, that is where Spurs will pick up on form because they do have a better team overall. So they should win quite comfortably. And in terms of a play to watch, believe it or not, I'm not going for Harry Kane or Heung-min Son. I've got a new name in the likes of Ndombele, and I'm happy I've got a new name because at the end of the day, Ndombele has done so well for Spurs as of late. He's gotten himself a good few goals in all competitions over the last 2-3 games. He's looking very, very good. And I actually think that he's been crucial throughout this Tottenham Hotspur season. He's actually created some beautiful link-up play, and I think he'll do it again versus Brighton. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of Premier League Matchweek 21 predictions. Once again, I hope you have enjoyed it. Obviously, if you did stick around to the end of the video, please do like the video down below if you did enjoy it. I'd really appreciate it. And obviously, that tells YouTube that you've enjoyed my video and it helps my channel grow. So I would appreciate this. But yeah, Premier League Matchweek 21, absolutely anything can happen. I'm excited to see the results. And obviously, I'll see you guys next Premier League Matchweek prediction video. And I'll probably see you in a video before that. So guys, until then, this is Finn, FYNN. Stay awesome. Cheers. Bye.